Ensuring that all of our kids have access to the resources they need in schools is an incredibly important issue to me, and it's something that I have worked on since I first came to the council. We are having the budget oversight hearings right now, and today is the government witness for DCPS, so that means the chancellor. And I was able to pop in and ask a bunch of questions, and I want to share with you the concerns that I have based on the answers. And I'm going to look at some notes because I don't want to miss anything, but the gist of it is that DCPS central office is cutting back on a number of programs that were centralized that essentially had a pool of funds that schools could tap into so that they could have those staff or services at their school. And they're being cut, and the chancellor is relying on schools to just make up the difference if it's something they want. Now, it's a tough time for the budget, and money is tight all around, and I get that. But the thing that I was really trying to bring to the top here was it's just not realistic. So we can't say, oh, schools are just going to have to fund this if they want it. We have to be honest and say, it's just not going to happen, right? We're cutting this program. The answer isn't, I'm sure if a school really wants this, they'll, cut this other essential program so that they can have field trips. And the issue that this exacerbates is inequity, because at a school with well-resourced parents, the PTO will raise money to cover whatever the school can't afford, right? But at a school that doesn't have those same parents is just not going to have the program. So let me walk through some of them. So one is educator wellness grants have been reduced from $900,000 to $400,000. Those are teacher retention programs. OSSI funds that, and we talked about that at their hearing, but this carries through to DCPS. Permanent substitutes, there's no program for permanent substitutes, which would, example, be like a person at your kid's school that is available when a teacher is out, who knows your kids, who knows all the kids at the school because they're there every day, just floating to whichever classroom needs their support. There is no funding for the flexible scheduling pilot to continue the way that it's been, which allows schools to model essentially work periods and professional development during the school day without having to close school, but giving teachers the flexibility they need, which is a huge retention piece and something that teachers always say that they want and need. And the models that of the schools that have been piloting this have actually been working. Connected schools. This is a program that puts wraparound services in the school. That program was cut. It's now in the school-based budget, but many schools aren't going to be able to afford to do that. This is a big one for Ward 1, the immigrant educator visa program. So this was federal funding, and it's a challenge, obviously, when federal funding goes away. But it costs about $10,000 to help somebody get their green card. It's a long process. Lawyers are involved. But we have 220 some teachers at DCPS on visas, and the visas expire. And when the visas expire, they can't continuously be renewed, right? I think you get a total of 6 years in America with an H-1B visa. Then you can go home for a year and then come back if you get another visa. But most people really need that green card at the end, and they need a sponsor. And you can get a sponsor a number of different ways. I mean, if you know a person in America who wants to sponsor you and has that kind of money, great, you can do that. But this pilot program was actually helping teachers get their visas through DCPS. And DCPS, from this hearing, has no idea what the impact is going to be when these visas expire. They weren't able to tell me when the visas were expiring, like how many each year of the 220. We've already heard in Ward 1 of, I think, 15 different teachers that would be impacted by not going through this visa program. Green card program. And that includes, just off the top of my head, Columbia Heights Education Campus, Bruce Monroe, and I think there's one more, that those teachers will be gone. That to me is just penny wise, pound foolish, they say. we should be investing in keeping teachers here, because we've built up these robust bilingual education programs, and there used to be a shortage of those teachers. We need to be working on our retention. I mean, so much of the issues that we deal with at DCPS is all about retention. And I've already mentioned a number of programs just now that are being cut that would help with retention. Experiential learning. I know this video is going on forever now, but okay, why has DCPS made it increasingly difficult for schools to organize field trips? Advanced requirements, 60-day advanced requirements, complex contracting processes, and the Bridge the Gap Fund is being eliminated by OSSI. So now there isn't money to pay for these. And like I said, wealthy parents are going to pay for field trips, right? It's going to happen. But those who can't. All right, I'm going to leave it there because that's long enough. But that's what I'm fired up about today. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk.